our lineup today here on The Now. The El Paso attack is bringing up concerns that we're underestimating white nationalism. Our investigative team's getting perspective from a man who studies mass shootings about what he believes could be next. Now, these infant sleepers, they've been recalled for months, but we're learning today that they're still in some daycares. The questions that you need to be asking. And some parents are giving kids credit cards as young as 8 years old. We're going to get some answers on if this is really a good idea.
Well, what's the next best thing to a grandma or grandpa, a foster grandparent? Last year, 4,500 kids across the state were mentored by these foster grandparents in their classroom. And as RTV6's Stephanie Wade reports, schools need more. She's in Greensburg with how one grandma is impacting young lives.
Start. If I didn't come in here, I'd just be sitting at home being bored. Snapped. Very good. And I'm like 86 now, so I'm just going to keep going as long as I can. Tunneled. Maybe I shouldn't have told you how old I am.
There's no denying. Who likes grandma the most? Raise your hand.
Oh, boy, that's good.
These kids love their grandma.
Almost fighting over who gets to work with grandma, and I want to work with grandma.
Though she may not be every second grader at Greensburg Elementary School's technical grandparent, having already plenty of her own.
I've got, I think, 8 grandchildren and 6 or I can't remember how many great-grandchildren.
She sure acts like it.
Sometimes I have a bad day and grandma helps me cheer me up. Like today, I read a book with her.
And it made you feel better?
Yeah.
What is a good one for afraid?
Scared.
That's right. Let's get them all out here where we can see these.
Whether it be spelling.
Some of these kids, they do better than I do.
Or math.
2 + 6.
Maybe I have a student who needs a little extra practice on something, like with reading, or maybe they just need a confidence builder and they just need that friend and that interaction.
Grandma is there.
I hope I help them, and I know they feel closer to me, I think.
Beverly Hargett has served as a foster grandparent for 8 years. If you haven't heard of the foster grandparent program before, people 55 and older can apply to serve as one-on-one tutors to children. They go through training and local, state, and federal background checks to work about 4 hours a day, 3 to 4 times a week. Not only does this give senior citizens something to do and keep people who are generally lower income engaged in their community, it serves as an extra support system for any child who might be struggling. The need for grandparents is driven by the children's need for reliable mentors in their lives. Thrive Alliance sponsors the program here in the southern counties, but this is offered in every region across the state. If you would like more information, we'll have that on our website at theindychannel.com. Working for you in Greensburg, Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
Stephanie, thank you. We're continuing following breaking news out of Muncie, where we are told police stopped a student carrying a gun near Muncie Central High School this afternoon. After that student made threats, there is a press conference going on right now where Muncie police are answering questions. Situation. We're going to take a listen in.
And I think that when you look at the timeline, 2:44 is when basically we're notified via dispatch, and 2:47 you have officers out on him. So 2 to 3 minutes on a call is a very good response time, especially given that time of day.
What time do kids get out of school? What time is school really?
That I'm not 100% sure, but I know that it's somewhere close to the 2:50, 3 o'clock range. So yeah, this is something we take very serious. Obviously we don't ever want a situation like this, but given the circumstances, I think that this went as well as it possibly could have. Having a subject, anybody across the street with a gun, and to the point where somebody's aware that there's a gun is obviously an issue.
So do we know what time he left earlier?
And again, we will continue following this breaking news out of Muncie, where police say they stopped a student carrying a gun near Muncie Central High School. You can follow more on this on the news at 6. Kevin.
5:34, and you're looking at the cumulus clouds. Now you see them. Tonight you won't. Those will clear out of central Indiana. Just want to show you off to the east. That's the closest thunderstorm activity pushing out of Ohio and into Pennsylvania. For us, 24 hours from now will be our next best chance for showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures, the warmest, 87 in Indy and Bedford. Other temperatures in the 70s by the time we get to 9 and 11 o'clock tonight with a clear sky.
Let's start the Now News feed with a win in court for GM in a case that's about ignition switch defects. Now, owners are suing GM, saying that the defect forced their cars to lose value. But a federal judge saying that people in California, Texas, and Missouri can't sue because of the differences in what they paid compared to what the cars are actually worth. The defect could shut the car engine off while driving and had been linked to 124 deaths. Well, so much for diplomacy on the Korean Peninsula. Kim Jong-un calling recent missile launches a warning to the U.S. and South Korea. The North's upset over recent U.S.-South Korea military exercises in that region. Well, it's hard to feel like a stranger just isn't always listening to us when you hear stories like this one. According to tech blog Motherboard, Microsoft contractors are listening to some Skype calls. The company's website says it may analyze audio in order to improve the platform's performance. Recently, Google and Apple stopped doing similar work with their products. Well, she was sent to prison as a teen, and now she's getting out as an adult. Centoya Brown was released from a Tennessee prison today. Now, she was initially sentenced to life in prison. She was convicted of killing a man who bought her for sex. Brown was just 16 at the time. She told investigators that she thought the man was going to kill her, so she defended herself by reaching for a gun and shooting him. Now, years later, the hashtag Free Centoya Brown went viral. Celebrities, big names, Rihanna, Kim Kardashian, just some of the people who began advocating for her release. Legal advocates say that her case also will help create awareness.
So I think her case is very significant in terms of showing the growing awareness that's been raised since her case and recognizing that there's in fact no such thing as a child prostitute, that what we're actually describing are instances of child rape, and that these are victims of child sexual abuse.
Now, legal advocates are hopeful that cases involving child human trafficking will be seen differently in court. In fact, one Tennessee representative introduced a House bill to protect minors who were harmed or killed someone who was sexually harassing them. Now, another senator sponsored a bill to give juveniles a chance at parole after serving 30 years of a life sentence. All right, let's get back to our lineup. And recalled infant sleepers connected to more than 30 deaths. Well, they may be out of homes, but today we're learning that daycare may not be getting the message to get rid of them as well. The questions you need to be asking about these and other recalled products.
Keller and Keller.
A local animal welfare group is asking for help to find a kitten stolen from an Indianapolis pet store last week. Johnson County Community Cat says the little cat named Riesling was taken from Pet Supplies Plus on County Line Road near Emerson Avenue. They believe Riesling was taken from the pet store sometime between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. Friday evening, although it could have been earlier in the day. She was last seen by a member of the group around 11 a.m. If you see Riesling online or know someone who has recently obtained a kitten that looks like her, contact Metro Police or Johnson County Community Cats at 317-914-4211. The group is offering a reward for her safe return.
We have an important new warning now about these infant sleepers. Now, we've told you how both of them, the Fisher-Price Rock and Play Sleeper and the Kids 2 Rocking Sleeper, are recalled. Daycares apparently are not getting the message on this. Right now, 3 months after those sleepers were recalled, the U.S. Public Interest Research Group and Kids in Danger found 1 in 10 daycares surveyed are still using the sleepers. A consumer watchdog says that our recall system, it needs to go beyond just keeping them off store shelves.
Right now, we rely on the media mostly to notify consumers about dangerous products. But we should go much further, having companies and regulators directly warn consumers by using information on who bought these products and letting them know that they should stop using them.
Now, until a change like that happens, here's what you really should be doing. You can check for any recalled products on the government's website, which is saferproducts.gov. Also, talk with your daycare, learn how they check for recalled products, and also how they make sure that they're removed.
I'm a parent myself, and I found out about this issue because my son's daycare was using this recalled infant sleeper, the Rock and Play. And so as a parent, I want my kids to be safe, as does that daycare, and so I can help them do that better.
Now, he says that his son's daycare told him that they didn't know about the sleeper recall. They thought it was just a warning. He says there may need to be more pressure on daycares to be up to date with recalls. Well, the nonprofit organization Kids in Danger found only these 18 states have laws requiring recalled products be removed from child care facilities. Let's get back to our lineup. And the El Paso shooting suspect appears to have posted on the controversial message board 8chan. Our investigative team getting perspective from a man studying mass shootings about why he feels that these suspects are showing signs of a bigger issue.
on RTV6 News.
Was the El Paso shooting a lone wolf, or was it something more organized? A growing number of people studying mass shootings say that homegrown extremists are showing some of the same organizational skills as well-known terror groups. Investigative reporter Jace Larson speaking with the man who says that we are underestimating white nationalism.
There is a single little-known website that may be partly responsible for some of these mass shootings. In at least 3 of the mass shootings, the shooters went on the website and interacted with other extremists before they went on their rampage. This guy might not look...
My name's Robert Evans.
...like an expert in homegrown extremists, but his world travel schedule sure does back that up. 10 days ago, he was in Syria. Before that, Mosul, Iraq. And we met him this week in Mexico City.
And I study how terrorist groups use the internet to radicalize and recruit.
Since a shooter went on a rampage in March, killing 51 people in Christchurch, New Zealand, Robert's devoted much of his time to studying how 3 mass shootings were connected all to this website. It's called 8chan.
8chan went from a bunch of disaffected, misogynist video game fans to outright neo-Nazis.
It's a place that users come freely to post what they want, including violent, anti-Semitic, racist, or pro-white nationalism images. Robert was among the first to find a connection between 8chan and the Christchurch massacre, the Poway synagogue shooting outside San Diego that injured 3 and killed 1 in April, and then the shooting in El Paso this last weekend. In each case, it appears the killers left either manifestos on 8chan or posted there before the killings. On 8chan, killing is likened to a video game where the phrase beating his high score refers to anyone who can kill more than the previous killer. The Christchurch killer live-streamed his bloodbath with a first-person point of view from his helmet cam.
There's a reason that the Christchurch shooter live-streamed his massacre for the people at 8chan. There's a reason that he put together a music list that was full of songs that were related to in-jokes within that community.
On the website, users cheer on one another. They also talk about something that's called replacement theory. That is their concern that the white race could be totally eliminated as more and more people come from Mexico and other Central American countries.
It's this idea that white people are going extinct because of immigration. And I should state very clearly that it's completely untrue.
Years ago, their fears might have been considered irrational, but now sometimes posters feel legitimized, Robert says, by some recent tweets from politicians. Those include one by Senator John Cornyn of Texas, who posted a headline of a news article that read, "Texas gained almost 9 Hispanic residents for every additional white resident last year." His spokeswoman says he simply retweeted a headline. But then there's this from Representative Steve King of Iowa, when he tweeted, "We can't restore our civilization with someone else's babies." We reached out to King, and he has yet to respond. Robert says these messages can be every bit as dangerous as the ones ISIS or Al-Qaeda might send, and we should be treating extremists like organized terrorist groups.
I think it's just as dangerous, and I think the fact that there's closing in on 80 people dead in the last 5 months is all the evidence that you need of that.
When I saw the links to that manifesto, I was completely unsurprised.
University of Northern Colorado professor Cliff Leake says these groups know how to recruit, especially likening their missions to video games.
Especially for younger men who are, in their adolescence, a time where many of us test our boundaries. If we enter a space like that where we are suddenly anonymous and there's no one there to push back against that and say, no, that's unacceptable, and instead we're in a space where as we push those boundaries, we get celebrated for it, then it almost becomes like one-upmanship.
Robert predicts the shootings won't stop as the notoriety continues to build for these shooters. Do you have concern that just by us talking about this and putting this on television, that it's going to somehow benefit these extremists?
I tried not talking about this. A lot of people tried not talking about this, and now dozens and dozens of people have been shot dead. So it's one of those things where I think I know what not talking about this looks like.
And Jace Larson joining us right now. And Jace, is there any talk of shutting this website down?
Even the guy who actually started this website and used to own it says it does need to be shut down, but it's hosted overseas, and that complicates things a little bit. We can tell you that the 8chan website has been really up and then down again and back up again since Sunday, but as of this morning, it was partially back.
All right, Jace, thank you.
We are just over a month away from the Brickyard 400, and you can see signs of what's to come if you go downtown. Speedway President Doug Bowles installed the first Brickyard 400 street sign at the South Spoke of Monument Circle. The street is named in honor of defending champ Brad Keselowski. 30 more signs are going up in downtown Indy as part of the month-long kickoff to the race, which takes place on September 8th. And the city of Greenwood today unveiled the final design for its new field house. It will anchor redevelopment of the former Greenwood Middle School in the heart of downtown, known locally as Old Town. Design plans include an elevated indoor running and walking track, 2 multi-purpose turf fields, and several indoor pickleball courts. Construction is set to begin next year. Kevin.
Let me show you the bridge that connects White River State Park to the Indianapolis Zoo. That's a great walking bridge there, and the zoo and White River Gardens there just on the far side. What a great day to be downtown by the canal, walking in your neighborhood, whatever you got going on. These temperatures are warm, yes, but the humidity is low and there's a nice breeze. 87 in Lafayette and Indy, couple degrees cooler for Greenwood and Muncie. Tonight, temperatures hover around 70 in the metro area. Outlying areas will be cooler, generally in the mid 60s. Now during the day tomorrow, temperatures start to warm up a bit more and the humidity comes up as well. You'll notice that a west wind at 15 with some gusts to 25. Chance for thunderstorms increases after about 2 o'clock. I don't think the chance for thunderstorms really peaks though until probably 6 or 7. Northern Indiana first, then central Indiana as far as thunderstorm development through the day. By noon we're at 84. Afternoon temperatures up to 88. That would be the same as today, with more humidity, and with that humidity could have some heavy rainfall in the spots. The coverage is not going to be great. Those of you in Columbus and areas just south had 2 to 3 inches of rain last night, while most everyone else stayed dry. 87 in Danville tomorrow afternoon, 90 in Columbus. Here's your Friday forecast. Lower humidity, temperatures not as warm, and more sunshine from start to finish.
More parents are giving younger kids credit cards. Annie Taylor's here with what finance experts think about that.
Carrying cash is less and less common for adults, so it makes sense more kids are carrying plastic today. About 17% of kids between the ages of 8 and 14 have a credit card. That's according to a recent survey by financial firm T. Rowe Price. Now, even though the card is in the parent's name and they're the ones responsible for making payments, it brings up the debate if it's a good idea or not. We asked NerdWallet's personal finance expert.
Parents are going to give their kids access to their credit card. They need to make sure they're using it as a learning tool, as a teaching tool, to teach them to be responsible with money.
Some families see plastic as safer than cash for tracking purchases. And she says plastic can set kids up for a better financial opportunity.
If your kids are an authorized user on your account, that creates a credit profile for them, which can be a good thing if they don't damage that credit profile, because having that credit history starting early, by the time they're a young adult and out on their own, they're going to have a longer credit history and a better credit score. That's going to make things like renting an apartment, buying a car, or even eventually buying a home easier for them to do because they're starting out with a strong credit history.
Once a child has a credit profile, you'll also need to monitor it just like you should on your own card.
All right, Annie, thank you. Let's turn to the Now News feed. Walgreens is closing around 200 stores. The company said the decision was about real estate. The stores make up less than 3% of the pharmacy locations they have nationwide. Plant-based meat is one of the hottest food trends right now. Subway is going to get on that action with the restaurant testing out a meatless meatball sub. Expect to see that next month at select locations. Disney's on a bit of a remake kick recently, and Home Alone is the next movie Disney says it's going to redo. Today, the company said it'll be making a new version of the 90s hit for its streaming service, Disney+. All right, finally in our lineup, social media bloggers have helped Dollar General's new $5 and under cosmetics line go viral. We're going to put it to the test to see if it really holds up quality-wise.